Reed was midway through a spreadsheet when his smartphone lit up with the bold text, Quinn, wife. It was the middle of the workday. She never called him then. He answered and said, "Hey babe, what's..." But her voice came through as a broken whisper in response, cutting him off.
Reed, don't say my name. Listen to me. I've been taken.
He froze. He said, "What?" She continued.
There are men in the house. They have guns. They're Albanian or something. If you call the police, they said they'll kill me. Do you understand? Don't call anyone.
The line went dead. For a long second, Reed just stared at his reflection in the black screen. Then his body moved before his brain caught up. He stood, knocked his chair backward, and walked straight out of the office. He called the police. When officers entered his house, they didn't find Quinn. No overturned furniture, no broken glass, just the faint smell of her perfume, a mug still warm on the table, and a single sheet of paper on the kitchen counter. The note was typed. No fingerprints, no signature. They had his name, his address, and exactly what they wanted. "We have your wife. We will pay us $50,000 or we will kill her first, then you." "Looks like a ransom," said one detective, folding the page into an evidence bag. "Albanians, your wife said." "That's what she told me. She said if I called you, they'd shoot her." "Well, if they wanted you scared, they got their wish." The next day, the phone calls started. Same number, same whispered terror on the other end.
Reed, it's me. They're making me call you. They want the money today. 50,000. 2 drops. 2 separate Chick-fil-A locations. If they see police, it's over. Don't try anything.
The kidnappers' instructions were strangely specific. 2 separate fast food parking lots, 2 separate bags, same amount of money. Reed did what they asked. Police did what they always do. By the time Reed pulled into the first Chick-fil-A, the area looked normal. Customers in the drive-thru, kids with milkshakes. But hidden among them were unmarked cars, officers with earpieces, and plainclothes detectives watching every move he made. Reed left the bag where they told him to, walked away, tried not to look over his shoulder. Somewhere nearby, a car slowed, then sped up again. The Albanians, whoever they were, kept driving. They'd seen enough to know the place was crawling with law enforcement. The first drop failed, so did the second. No money exchanged hands, no kidnappers revealed themselves, and Quinn was still missing. On the third day, the kidnappers changed tactics. This time, they didn't call Reed. They texted Quinn's mother. The message was simple. "You'll get the money from Reed, you'll do the drop. Alone. No police. Joe's Crab Shack parking lot." The logic was obvious. Reed was compromised. The police had eyes on him. Quinn's mother, on the other hand, might look harmless enough to walk into a trap. What the kidnappers didn't know was that Quinn's mother had been sitting across from detectives since day 1. They read the text before she answered it. She did exactly as they told her. She drove to Joe's Crab Shack. Undercover officers followed at a distance, their radios buzzing in low static. She stepped out, placed the bag of cash in the spot she'd been instructed, and walked away. For a few tense minutes, nothing happened. Then something did. Just not what anyone expected. 2 college kids, backpacks slung over one shoulder, cut through the lot. One of them spotted the bag. "Dude, is that money?" They opened it, stared, laughed, and started walking. Detectives had to break cover early, rush over and take back the cash before it disappeared into a dorm room. The ransom drop was blown. Again. After a series of failed attempts and aborted drops, the so-called Albanians seemed to realize this wasn't going to be clean. Police were everywhere. The money was never where it was supposed to be for long. 3 days after this all began, Quinn reappeared. A passerby spotted her stumbling across a local parking lot just after dark. Her clothes were torn, her face was streaked with tears and mascara. She looked like she'd been dragged straight out of a nightmare. Officers rushed her to the station. Sitting under fluorescent lights, wrapped in a blanket, she told them her version of the nightmare. She'd been at home when they came, she said. 3 Albanian men, guns in her face. They tied her up and took her to a warehouse. There, she said, they assaulted her. After that, they moved her to a motel.
They put a gun to my head and made me call Reed. Made me ask for money. They said if he didn't pay, they'd kill both of us.
Throughout the interview, she kept circling back to Reed.
Maybe he set this up. Maybe he hired them. I know he's been unhappy. Maybe he wants me gone. Maybe this was all his idea.
Detectives noted the accusation, but focused on the facts. That's when her story began to slip. First, she insisted there were 3 men. Later, under pressure, she said it was just one person. Then, when asked to describe them, she gave a name. Jazz, a local mechanic. Police picked up Jazz that same day. He looked nothing like the shadowy criminal mastermind Queen had described. Grease under his nails, work boots, a tired face that suggested long hours under cars, not elaborate kidnapping plots. In the interrogation room, they laid out the accusations: kidnapping, ransom, assault, the works. Jazz listened. Then he shook his head and did something none of them expected. He smiled. "I never kidnapped anyone, I can prove it." They've heard that line 1,000 times. But Jazz didn't argue. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a small digital recorder, and placed it on the table. Before you press play, you should know Quinn and her husband, things weren't good. She told me that herself. She wanted out, wanted a fresh start with me. They hit the button. On the recording, Quinn's voice filled the room. Calm, cold, calculating. She talked about her failing marriage, about how Reed would never agree to a divorce, about money, about starting over. Then she outlined a plan. She and Jazz would vanish into a motel for 3 days. She'd pretend to be kidnapped by Albanians. They'd type a ransom note and leave it where Reed would find it. They'd use her phone to send messages, give detailed instructions for cash drops at random locations, fast food joints, parking lots, places where nervous cops would struggle not to look like cops. Then Jazz chimed in. The whole time we were in that motel, she was texting him, calling him, telling him where to go. There were no Albanians, no warehouse, no gun to her head. Just us, trying to squeeze 50,000 out of him. At first, it had been exciting, dangerous, the kind of thing people fantasize about but never do. Then Jazz got scared. If this goes bad, she'll blame me. So he did the one smart thing in this entire disaster. He started recording her. Every detail of the fake kidnapping, every mention of the ransom, every time she laughed about how scared Reed must be. And now, sitting in an interrogation room, that recording had become his lifeline. Because while Quinn was telling detectives she was an innocent victim and that Jazz was the monster who had kidnapped and tortured her, Jazz was playing back the moment she invented the monster. In the place and other characters were fictional as well. Once the recording finished, the room felt different. Detectives called in Reed. They played it for him too. In the single, flat voice of a cheap digital recorder, he heard his wife plot her own kidnapping, heard her talk about draining his savings, heard her talk about a future that had nothing to do with him. The case unraveled quickly after that. There were no Albanians, no mysterious thugs, no shadowy warehouse, just a motel room, a mechanic, a failing marriage, and a plan that depended on everyone around them being slightly stupider than they actually were. Both Quinn and Jazz were arrested and charged with extortion. Mugshots were taken. Quinn's face blank and hard, Jazz is a mix of defeat and irritation, like a man who'd realized too late that he'd chosen the wrong woman and the wrong crime. In the end, the system was surprisingly gentle. Quinn received 7 months of probation. Jazz got 6. No Hollywood trial, no dramatic last words, just 2 people who thought they were clever, and a husband who, once the dust settled, did the smartest thing he could. Reed filed for a divorce, and this time, nobody had to fake anything.
Before you go, don't just scroll past this like it was, just another story. If you enjoyed this one, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell because we're dropping more real-life, twisted stories just like this. Fake kidnappings, scams, betrayals, and unbelievable plot twists. You'll never have to go hunting for what to watch next. YouTube will bring the next story straight to you. And the more you watch, the more the algorithm learns you love this kind of content. So your homepage stops being random and starts feeling like your own private true crime theater. Also, smash the like button. Not just for ego, okay? A little. But because it tells YouTube, hey, this was actually good. Show it to more people. Which means we can keep investing time into better stories, better sound, and better visuals for you. And if you know one friend who loves dark, twisted stories or crime documentaries, share this video with them. You might just give them their new favorite channel. So, subscribe, like, and share if you want more stories that make you say, there's no way that actually happened, until you realize it did. We'll see you in the next one.